Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene recently got an earful from one of her constituents.
Yes, I just want to say thank God for Joe Biden. She is an embarrassment to the state of Georgia.
Well, we all have our opinions.
Amen to that, and I've got mine.
All righty, thank you.
Thank God for Joe Biden. Oh, well, y'all got your opinions. Yeah, we do got our opinions. And you're going to hear about them. And they're not good, at least when it comes to your guest. But hey, look, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. I think, you know what? I actually give credit to those hosts, right? Because they obviously disagreed and actually, we're kind of coming to the defense of their guest a little bit. Like, oh, hey, that's your opinion. That's totally fine. It's an opinion show. Great. I'm glad they didn't cut the call off or shut him down. And also, we got to see Marjorie Taylor Greene's face as she was very, very uncomfortable, you could see. And actually, the discomfort for Marjorie Taylor Greene continues because there was another critical caller. Let's hear that.
We accepted Trump for 4 years. You all refused to accept Biden. You refused to do it. And maybe we didn't like Trump, but he won, and so that was it. You all are not, you will not accept the fact that Joe Biden won. And that is the whole thing. You're not going to accept it. You're going to keep on and just peck. And you won't get anything done. If you're not going to respect the man and realize that he's the president, you're not ever going to get anything done. You've got to work together. And you are not doing it. You're not doing it. And neither are the other Republicans. They're just going with Trump. No, he didn't win it. He didn't win it. And wasted all the money in Georgia to have to count the votes 3 times because he said he won and he didn't.
Oh, the Schadenfreude. It's so good. So good. And by the way, it's great because you can see just the impotent rage in her face with the awkward smile, like, God, I can't say anything. Oh, why can't I say anything? It's the communists. That's what's going on. It's the communism. Now, look, so obviously, I love everything about this. This is fantastic to watch. And look, the caller made some great points, but I'm actually going to push back a little bit on one thing. And so, look, yes, Republicans pick, and they're like, Joe Biden's not the legitimate president, right? Well, I do remember, and this is just in the spirit of fairness, but also to actually make a good comparison that really proves this caller's point. And so you all remember the not my president, right? So there's a contingent, of course, of Hillary Clinton voters that were like, Donald Trump's not my president. Now, that's a rhetorical thing, obviously. And it was a rhetorical cry for people that were so outraged and really surprised and shocked that Donald Trump could be president. So now, look, in that election, I actually wasn't surprised to see Donald Trump actually winning this election in 2016. We saw it coming. The mainstream media did not see it coming, and most of the establishment voters also did not see this coming. And so they're like, oh my God, not my president, right? But now, again, that's very, very different than what the Republican Party has been doing. For one, the people that were saying not my president when it came to Trump were not also out there saying voter fraud. They weren't saying voter fraud. But then some of you might bring up, but Russia. It's the Russians. Well, the Russians didn't change the votes, and nobody was claiming that the Russians had changed the votes. In fact, we do have ample evidence, however, that they did run an online disinformation campaign. Now, that disinformation campaign was aimed at trying to discourage people from voting for Hillary Clinton. So now in order to do that, they created troll farms, they ran ads, they bought ads everywhere, they released emails to WikiLeaks, allegedly, which played on Clinton's massive unpopularity. And now that didn't work in 2020 when it came to Joe Biden, because Joe Biden actually, unlike Hillary Clinton, had a much higher approval rating. People liked him way more than they liked Hillary Clinton. And plus, not only that, but again, Joe Biden served as Obama's VP. Obama is one of the most favorable Democrats. Democrats absolutely love Obama. Now, that kind of frustrates me a little bit because I don't think Obama did that great of a job. I think he was very, very centrist, very establishment. There was not really, in my opinion, a whole lot of hope and change under that, okay? But nonetheless, it also didn't work on Joe Biden because Trump bungled the hell out of COVID. And so people wanted a change. They wanted somebody who was actually, I don't know, knew what the hell that they were doing, or at least they appeared to know what the hell they're doing. Now, I would also say that Biden's coronavirus response also wasn't great. And I've had criticisms of that, but certainly it did seem to be better than Trump. That said, the Russia argument and not my president, they're not the same at all. Not compared to what Republicans have done. Again, Republicans, including Marjorie Taylor Greene and the rest of the Sedition Caucus, they took this idea of alleged mass voter fraud, which they can't prove, right? And so, nonetheless, they repeat it, they did the propaganda ad nauseum, and they convinced their followers to believe it as well. And then they use that belief and the propaganda in order to attempt to steal an election via, for example, fake electors, to try to pressure Mike Pence into not certifying the election, and then literally sending fake electors instead of the real electors to vote for Trump, when it comes to the Electoral College vote. And so obviously we know all of that. Now, not only that, but Republicans also have used that big lie to try to push massive amounts of voter suppression laws. I think since 2021, or in 2021 alone, you had, I believe, 33 different voter ID or voter suppression laws passed in 19 different states. While some states, more blue states, actually tried to expand their voting, you had a lot of states, especially where it could be a swing state, you had Republicans doing everything they could to try to restrict voting, especially when it comes to minority areas. And so that is, in my opinion, an attempt to sway or steal an election. So anyway, and again, I bring that up because, again, there is a good comparison to make that actually makes her arguments much, much stronger, and her disdain against the Republican Party and what they're doing that much more effective. Now, that said, the caller also absolutely correct. They're not letting it go. And it's actually really, really good to see Georgia voters actually being able to tell her how they really feel. Again, she's been an incredibly, when it comes to legislation, she's been an incredibly ineffective legislator. She hasn't done anything for the people of Georgia. And she can't. She literally has been kicked off all of her committees and does no work. That's why you see her all around. She goes from show to show to show to show to show and doesn't do anything because she's not on any committees. She was stripped of all of her committee assignments, and now she just has all this time to go around and troll everybody. Well, at least in this case, she was a captive audience and got an earful, and that was good. Now, that said, I'm sure she got some other calls too that were like, oh, let's go Brandon. But that said, credit to the show and the host of the show, which I probably don't agree with politically, that we're allowing these calls to go through and allowing people either good or for or against to be able to express their opinion. So cookies for you. That's a good thing.